Hello viewers, I am Ragbir Singh. Welcome to the channel Learn the Method of Learning English. Today's lesson is IELTS, its fundamentals. IELTS, the full form of which is International English Language Testing System. International English Language Testing System, which tests the efficacy or the proficiency upon English of those persons for whom English is not their native language. So, what are the fundamentals of IELTS? This is our today's concern. First of all, we have to understand one thing, that if we are being trained by an experienced and well-trained teacher, then IELTS or qualifying this test is not at all difficult, and there is no problem about qualifying the test. It is very essential that our source from which we are learning to be able to qualify the test is quite okay. I again say there is no problem about qualifying it. Another reason is learning a language happens to be the easiest subject upon earth. No other subject is as easy as to learn a language. Reason? In language learning, there are only 4 activities involved, and those 4 activities are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And remember, the sequence also remains the same, because for learning a language, what the child learns first is to listen. When a child is about 6-7 months old, what do? We speak a few bilabial sounds like papa, mama, baba into the ears of the child. So what is the child doing? The child is listening to these sounds. So the first activity on which learning of language depends is listening. The question arises, if listening is the first activity, then our listening must be pure. It must be up to the international standards. And the international standard of English language is RTO, the full form of which is received pronunciation. So, dear viewers, dear listeners, I repeat, the first fundamental of clearing this test is being a good listener, and not just being a good listener, also ensuring that we are listening to what is grammatically correct and phonetically correct also. Only those students fail to qualify the test who don't have the right listening source. So the first fundamental of qualifying IELTS, the full form of which is International English Language Testing System, is that the speaker who is speaking to us must have good command on both the grammar and pronunciation and accent of English language. So, dear students, this is the first fundamental. After listening, the next activity is speaking. We will speak the way we heard. So, when we are speaking, again, we have to be very careful that we are imitating our source correctly and properly. After these two activities, the third activity that is performed in the process of learning a language is reading. Reading cannot be before listening and speaking. Reading is the third activity. That is how a language is taught and how a language is learned. So when we have spoken certain words to the student or to a child, the third thing that we do is we write a letter on the board, like the letter A, letter B, etc., etc. And then we show these letters A, B, etc. to the child who is learning that language. So, what is the child doing? The child is reading the letters A, B, etc. So, this is the third activity. So, first listening, it is followed by speaking, and speaking and listening, they are followed by reading. After reading, the next activity which we ask our learner to perform is writing. Now, what do we do? After the child has seen the letters A, B, etc., we put some dots on the board and ask the child to join the dots. Or we just write A or P on the board and give a pen or pencil to the child to write A or B on the dotted line. So, what is the child doing? The child is learning to write on the dotted line. Writing on the dotted line has another meaning also, but here we don't mean that. Here we mean that the child is simply learning how to write. So, dear listeners, dear viewers, the main fundamental of being able to qualify This test is that the source from which supply is coming to us must be good. Your teacher, your guide must be trained in the art of all the four skills of learning the language. And those four skills, I repeat, are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. After this, there can't be any major worries because there is another statement that grammar is more picked up than learnt. This statement means that as our teacher continues to expose us to the atmosphere of listening, we automatically get to understand the grammar part of the language. No doubt, certain lessons of grammar are to be explained directly also. But this doesn't mean that simply telling the definitions of certain things can make a student master of grammar. What is going to make a student master of grammar is his exposure, is more and more exposure to the atmosphere of listening to. But listening to what? This is a precondition. Listening to English, which is correct both grammatically and phonetically. If I speak incorrect English, my student will imitate me and he will speak the same. So if the source is incorrect, then the further supply shall also be the same. If water at the bag or water from the source is not good, if it is contaminated, then the pipe that is giving us water shall give us only contaminated water. So in this case, I won't use that hard word like contaminated, but this can be used if we are listening to bad English, if we are listening to rough English, then I believe the word contaminated can also be tolerated. So again, the only fundamental of being able to qualify this test is that you must take your own time. You must take your own time and search for a person, search for a guide who himself or herself knows how to give you training in all the four skills of language learning. And those four skills are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. If there are any problems, you are welcome to ask questions. It shall be my pleasure to be of assistance. Thank you very much.